Hey guys, I'm Carrie.
Hi everyone, I'm Casey.
Thanks for joining us today. Today we're talking about something really interesting. We are doing a review on a very popular segment for YouTube. It is called I Talk to Demons Every Day. This is from the Paranormal Files, and this is something that we felt like we really wanted to review. Now, while the people who filmed this original YouTube segment, they did an excellent job. They did it with a lot of respect and a lot of honor of the person that they were documenting. So today's segment, we're going to be watching this segment with you, and we're going to talk about it and review it. And if you like it or dislike it or whatever, leave comments below. That's something that is really important to get your reactions as well. All right, so we're going to start this today.
Alright, here we go.
I am actually a little nervous just because, you know, I saw little bits and pieces and it was just too much for me. So it's been something that I've had to actually keep a lot of protections down and discernment and do the essential protections meditation. And so I'm a little nervous to start this, but I'm really excited to do that.
Well, we both came under attack after watching this video.
Yeah, that's been something really traumatic and profound, but at the same time really necessary as well. So FYI, just as a warning here, it is really important for you to go into your essential protections meditation before you even start watching this. And for anything like this topic whatsoever, please be sure to do that. Have a thick skin about this and keep your protections on.
Yeah, very important.
All right, so let's go. Oh, here we go.
Reverence, respect. We'll leave offerings, incense. With me specifically, partially possessed me, which is where he'll like kind of like slide in, and he's a very practical person. So like everything I do has some kind of like practical aspect to it. So
I can take that. Sounds pretty common.
So I'm just gonna add that to.
Each entity has like their own specific likes. Like he
That
likes
is true.
peanut butter and bananas, sandalwood.
Sandalwood is
anything
true.
like earthly or water based, and then like say an entity like Set, he likes sage or a couple different things that he likes, and then Leviathan, for example, likes he likes lavender. And see, the thing is, I don't really work with them too much. It's mostly just G. And I did actually ask them if anybody wanted to participate besides him, and they were like, no, I'm good.
I'm gonna pause this a
In
second.
this kind of stuff, and he's only doing any of this because I asked him to.
All right.
They all have their own personal likes, dislikes, and how they.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, and obviously this is both of us here. When you're a demonologist, you do need to know each of the demon and devil, their specialties, their strengths, and their weakness, and know every single one of them, all of their identity, their basic frequency thumbprint, if you will, because of the part of when you're going into astral realm battle, you know their strengths and weaknesses. So each of them do, in fact, have different personality traits, different strengths and weaknesses. She's right on there, that's true.
That is true.
And the thing is about her is that her speaking with demons, and in this case devils, this is valid. This is actually going on with her because that frequency does match up, and there's certain things within this video that you can actually tell the imprint of these devils within her house. You don't treat it like you're having your Aunt Sue come over for coffee and Kool-Aid. You don't.
Full spirit, which is actually interesting because when you go into like a lot of the descriptions of Goetia spirits, it's a lot of like scary stuff, like, oh, they might do this or they might do that, or you have to like trap them in a triangle, or all they do will lie to you. And then like for his, found it kind of funny and interesting. It's like, oh yeah, like he's pretty much truthful and to the point and blunt, and like he'll answer any question you ask him. But they're also like, if you summon him to ask him a question, like that's all
Don't
he's
summon.
doing. Like don't try and talk to him about like a bunch of other stuff, but nothing like negative about him.
What version of negative?
So how did, I guess let me just ask first, and you can answer these first kind of questions briefly so we can get into the meat. How many entities would you say that you contact / talk to frequently?
One mainly, and there was like a couple others that I'll talk to like semi-frequently.
And you said you would describe.
So the deal with this, and I've met this specific devil, and this has come up with other cases that it goes by different names and so forth that I don't really want to discuss. The part that she's talking about, that he goes by different names, a couple of things here. This devil is really, really obviously taking advantage of her. That's easy to do because she's so willing to do that. This girl has not only invited, but said, hey, you can completely consume my whole life and do your version of teaching. I will submit to your perspective as that being true.
Yes.
So the thing about the specific devil, though, is that's where the trickery lies with this devil, is that it comes out as truth. But which truth? It's this perspective. And he's taking advantage of her good spirit and showing her his version of truth, which is not actual truth. That's perspective. And again, this goes back to like what we keep talking about in discernment. Everything is black or white. And in this part, this devil is really portraying everything as a gray area. And that gray, hey, did you know that gray has white in it? So that must mean that this perspective is actually good. I'm good as a devil. That's trickery, and that's the kind of truth that she's going through.
Yeah.
Whew. I've seen this devil firsthand too, and this thing comes off all really nice and neat at first, but at the same time, you have to be very careful too, because the more you pick in there, the more it lures you in with more answers, and its perspective of its answers. That's one slice of the whole, and it makes you believe that is the whole, and it's not. And that's how this specific devil lures the people in, especially people who are very hungry for knowledge, as this person is. Knowledge is her weakness, which is kind of funny, but that's how that's working with her. Ooh.
I actually think that these entities, before we get into them, are the typical demon, or
No.
what are you saying by that sentence?
So like, I just kind of use demon because it's the main term that like people know, and demonology just kind of formed as like a way, because there's a lot of ways to work with these entities, and a lot of them are very from a
Yes,
Christian
there are.
viewpoint. A lot
This
of
is
them
one
are,
way.
you gotta trap them and bind them and protect yourself with a circle and all that kind of stuff. And demonology is different in that it's very like a equal relationship. You're working them with like friends, family. You're not really working with them as like, you're my slave, do shit for me, basically. It's more like a give and take. Like I share.
Do you
my
see the
energy,
panic
time
in her
with you,
face?
You share your knowledge and time with me, that kind of stuff.
So you guys are equals in a way,
Yeah,
being you're obviously human and
Yeah.
they are not.
yeah.
So interesting to me, but I have just so many questions.
Yeah.
Let's get
This
into
guy is
them.
being so respectful,
which
though. I like
entities
that.
do you contact
Yeah.
frequently, besides Gushin?
I contact Leviathan, Set, or most people know him as Lucifer, and sometimes I contact Baal and Alokis.
Okay, so as a light worker, I mean, we're working with absolute ascended masters. They don't consume us. They don't tell us what to do. They will advise certain things for our greatest good, for our greatest good, and we still have free will. This person is so very, very consumed in that version of truth. It's horrifying. Plus, honestly, to experience these specific devils.
Felt like was actually there, but I didn't really know how to approach it. And then when my ex-husband went to jail, I started researching more myself.
Which feeds into the chaos and different reasons why you might be under demonic attack.
I set up an altar and I started meditating regularly, and that's really when I started practicing.
And was it right away when these signs started to happen, or did it have to occur gradually?
It definitely occurred gradually, and I think that's mostly just because I wasn't sensitive to it. I wasn't able to hear or sense or anything, because it took me, because
No,
I
it's
was
part of a
not
lure.
serious about it, like the first couple of years that I was.
It took some time to lure
I
you
was,
in.
off and on meditating, once a weekend, that kind of stuff, not really doing it regularly. And it wasn't really until I started meditating regularly, like 3-4 times a week that I really started getting like mental images and like
3-4 times a week
buzzing
isn't
kind of noise
regular.
in my ear, and then that gradually turned into actual words, thoughts that didn't seem like my own, and then I felt like
Possession?
maybe it's my subconscious.
Influence
So I
before
did
that?
do a lot of work, like clearing out my subconscious, lots of deep meditations to try
Making
and
room
like
for?
determine like what's me, you know, what's him, is he real, does he exist? And there had been like a lot of things that had happened that kind of proved his existence, but I had never really been able to talk to him before, so it was kind of feeling like I was going crazy a little bit. But then when I actually started
You wish you were going
talking to
crazy.
him, I had some very surreal, very like physical sensations thing, like I could definitely tell that he was real. And I did have some like sensations of energy and stuff like that when I was first practicing, which is kind of what kept me going, because I'm a very practical person, so
It
if I have
tricked.
something,
Said, here you go, I'm gonna give you a little energy, a little
but it
nugget.
was the feel of energy, the fact that I could like feel some kind of weird sensation flowing through my body that kind of kept me more and more interested in wanting
Blurred.
to like pursue, be able
Blurred.
to actually talk to him one day.
So you haven't been doing this your whole life, though.
No, definitely
And this is
not.
kind of like you got thrust into this world through someone else, and then it's become like a life passion for you and something that you really rely on.
We got a winner!
So what do you think is your
I got
favorite
one.
part about having these entities to contact and like the things that they bring to you?
Learning and then just having like different perspectives. It's very interesting the way that they see things. It's like completely not how humans see things at all. It's very interesting to me.
I gotta say that face. What do you think?
It just floors me, and it just speaks volumes to the tradecraft that these devils and demons use, and the way they are able to manipulate and twist and turn and perverse everything into tricking you into thinking that what they're telling you is the truth. And let's not forget that these devils are thousands of years old and have a vast knowledge and experience of time and everything that's gone on with this earth.
They will never be your friend, ever. And they completely have her under their thumb so easily. But to the point of where they don't even have to do anything at
That's
this
true.
point. She's doing all the work for them. There's not going to be a whole lot of trickery or mockery to her face because she's already subservient. That doesn't mean that that's okay. It is so very not. But she also doesn't realize that every bit of her human free will, she's given up to them.
It's powerful.
Definitely so. Definitely.
In what way?
He definitely has been able to do things that the other ones can't.
And check this out.
They don't fight for power or whatever, but it's just a very obvious.
They don't need to,
like,
they're all on the same
they
team.
respect him, and you know what he says kind of goes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Because it's Satan.
are the entities here with us
They don't need
now?
to fight.
Gushins.
They're already
Gushins.
named.
So Gushin you would describe
They're
as
already
being
on the same
kind of
team.
the entity, demon, however you would describe this, that you're really like the best friends with
Yeah.
out of all of them, and you
Yeah.
stay in frequent contact
All the time.
and you guys are talking and you're hearing it,
Mm-hmm.
and he's helping you out in all these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to think about it, where would he be now? Is he like somewhere specifically in that?
He's
in
like,
the house
please don't say he's in the
apartment,
house.
or is
Please don't say
he
he's in the
just
house.
kind
Please
of
don't say he's in the
omnipresent?
house.
Well, see, I have his sigil tattooed on me, so I kind of feel him with me always.
This is true. It's how they're known is
Right.
their sigils. That's very true. But tattoo and essentially brand yourself like your cattle.
To bind yourself to this entity as well. To absolutely bind yourself.
Yes.
Now, you know, we're covered with tattoos. But nothing about any of these tattoos bind us to absolutely anything. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. When you put a sigil on,
not heavy down here. It's definitely more heavy up there, but it's kind of off for me because, like I said, because I literally feel him like in me, basically, like all his energy flowing in me. So it can be kind of hard.
So I'm kind of hungry.
Damn scammer.
Oh, really? All that for a scammer?
All that for a scammer.
What? Okay. Girl, you really are a lovely girl. This is not a shot against you or anything like that. This isn't that. It's the opposite of that. It's more like our hearts go out to somebody like this, and this is hopefully not a completely irreversible thing.
Experienced since the beginning of this journey, can you spell out the different incidents
Yes.
that have occurred?
Yeah, okay, so the first one would have been when I was sitting in my car and had that blue orb fly around my car, and then like doors opening and closing in my house, and then there really things moving, keys and stuff like that. There really wasn't anything like serious until I moved into my first apartment and had my friend.
How did she dismiss that?
And him and his girlfriend were spending the night, and she was scared because she could kind of sense his energy, and she had a negative thing attached to her, so she was like kind of freaking out. And her boyfriend was like trying to act macho and stuff, so he like challenged him, and obviously I wasn't there for it, but I got woken up to them freaking out at like 3 o'clock in the morning because
Every good
apparently when
reason.
he challenged him, he opened all the doors in the kitchen, all the cabinets, and slammed them shut, and then started stomping around like where they were sleeping and stuff like that. And
Which
then
mimics that
this
frequency,
is the part
absolutely.
that I saw when they woke me up and I came out. There were some huge black handprints going up the wall, over his sigil, and then onto the ceiling. And then after that, I had a friend who was living with us who had negative intentions, I guess, I didn't even know about. And we left. Everybody left, and when we came back, all his stuff was stacked on his bed in a triangle.
So something has crawled on the wall.
Handprints all the way up the wall
What do
and onto
you
the
think?
ceiling.
What do you think caused the handprints?
Oh, definitely Gushin.
But I mean, how do you think that happened? Like, do you have any theory as to how they appeared?
I know
That
that
he burned
I
and
definitely
printed
know
it.
that they can physically interact with things. So I think he was trying to send a message to them, like, you know, this is my house.
He's marking it, and usually it's like a chemical compound that almost like sears the wall as they're walking, and they can do many different forms of this. And you know, with the blast in the kitchen, those devils won't just like do one at a time and whatnot. They'll do a concentrated blast all at once, where things just open up and close. It's not like just, you know, that they're lingering. It's really, they'll use their massive energy and their frequencies to open that up like that. So absolutely this is happening.
Hand on the wall, physically kind of showing that.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm here, don't
Yep.
disrespect me. Because since I started working with him, I made it well known, like, you know, I'm coming to you for like knowledge and help and stuff like that. So like, my house is your house. You know, I respect you, you respect me.
Oh yeah, because they
and
respect
then-
you, you know.
One particular time,
All devils will respect you. Oh my gosh.
my ex got into an altercation, and my ex was actually choking me, and Gushin came in
Altercation.
and ripped him off of me, and my ex was completely shocked. Obviously, did not expect that.
They have
which is
every reason
kind of
to have
weird 'cause he was
activity.
the one who introduced me to it. A little bit weird. I don't think he was as serious as he claimed to be. And then another time, one time I was in my car, and it was raining, and I was doing 50, and it was 45. And someone pulled out to me. I mean, like, I was coming up to an intersection, and I was maybe a car length away from the intersection, and someone pulled out in front of me. There's no way that I should have been able to stop, especially because it had just started raining and the roads were wet. And I slammed on my brakes and I started skidding, and I was like, I'm gonna rear-end this person. Without a doubt, I'm rear-ending them. And right before I rear-ended them, my car slammed to a stop.
Is he
and
protecting
then-
her? Does she think that he's
When I
protecting
started
her?
meditating
It sounds
and
like.
more regularly, and he started showing me images,
Which, you know what, they
They
will
show me a
do
lot of
that
things,
as far as, because I mean
lots.
she's like one of them now.
underground places and like kind of like my brain and then like zoomed out into the world and then showed like how the world was
Astral
like
realm.
interconnected, kind of like nerves. Besides like images and stuff that he showed me, there wasn't really too much until I started doing yoga and meditation regularly, and I got like
Which has
really
nothing to do with
sensitive to energy,
Satanism.
and I started working with 3 other entities, and I was meditating one time, and I was like laying on my back in the middle of my ritual room, and I felt hands on the top of my head, in both of my hands, and on my feet. Hands, like as clear as day. Open my eyes, I still feel hands, like someone was holding my hand in my body. And then, actually, strangely enough, like I said, they actually have been a focal point of changing my life in several occasions. I was actually kind of getting a weird feeling from my ex-husband and deciding if I was going to leave him. And I was asking for advice. And because my ex had, at the time, had kind of manipulated me into thinking that G was like buddy-buddy with him, G was telling me to leave, and I thought that was my subconscious, so I was like rejecting it. And then Set came in, and he literally came in and he shoved me out of my body. And that was a really weird experience.
That shoving out of the body is very common. Don't recommend. Keep that down. But that is something, especially as a psychic medium, why I don't work with anything low vibrational, why I refuse to work with anything whatsoever low vibrational. When watching these videos, when talking about any of these topics, reading books or whatever, if I have to do protections, meditations, otherwise literally they can suck me out of my body as well and into astral realm. That is a very quick process that is quite common. So what she's talking about is very real, and that's why it's important to have that protection and discernment.
That's not a situation that you want to be put in or find yourself in. Because if they can not only push you out, but put you in astral realm against your will,
Right.
but they can keep you there
Right.
for a long period of time too.
And the dimensions you're going to is not the frequency that you're expecting. The vibrational level that you are getting sucked into matches theirs. This is a descended master, not an ascended master, not high. You're not going to a good place. You're getting sucked into their dimension. That is the most horrific thing.
They are the epitome of why this stuff happens. This is just like, hey, you wanna join our club? We got a cute little club. You'll get all the knowledge you'll ever want. Come play with us. No. No.
And I felt like kind of like a string connected to my body, but I was definitely like outside of my body, like over here. And then he pointed out like, okay, so this is how you tell when I'm talking, this is how you tell when your subconscious talking, this is how you tell when you're talking, like energy wise. He pointed out like the chakras, the different chakras that would activate different things, and how when my subconscious would talk, no chakra would activate. And that's kind of how I actually learned to tell the difference between like what's
You learn
me,
discernment from a
what's my
devil.
subconscious, and what's them. And then, I mean, that's pretty much the major ones.
So a lot of activity, and a lot of times it seems to be physical, which is what's interesting, because a lot of times in esoteric theory and the kind of whatever you would call contacting entities, that there have been so many names for it over time.
This one's summoning, honey.
A lot of people have claimed that it's
pretty
strictly
good there.
on the mind, but with your case, there is actually something that's manipulating objects in the real world, like causing handprints on a wall.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I guess my question is, when does the physical stuff seem to happen? Is there like a pattern to it, or is it very random?
The physical stuff, as far as like him actually like touching objects and stuff like that, at first it was kind of definitely to get me like interested and just like aware that he was there. But usually nowadays, the only times there's like really physical stuff is like when I moved into a new place and he was like opening all the doors and stuff like that and exploring, or like if is like threatening towards me.
What do you think was the clearest communication you've ever received? Like the most striking, I guess maybe accurate or...
It's been a lot. There's been a lot.
Do you have like one or two examples of something?
Yeah, like I met a friend through an occult group and just was able to like, I guess he had been practicing since he was like really young. He's like in his 40s. And I was just able to confirm like a lot of stuff that he was taught and fill in like details that he didn't have and just like confirm answers that he would know but I wouldn't. And then just like a couple times, like there's been times when like my friend was having like an emotional breakdown and like he was like, hey, reach out to her, and I reached out to her like, hey, are you okay? And she was like, oh yeah, I was actually in the middle of having a panic attack, like that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And besides like him throwing my ex-husband off of me and just stuff like that.
So you learn from these entities.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you choose to contact and stay in contact with G?
Yeah.
Just because you're learning things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you say you're learning? What's the benefit of the
Oh my God.
I'm learning the how and why of
Yeah.
things. I'm learning the history of things, the behind the scene things.
You can learn that
learning
in
more
other ways,
depth
honey.
about like history. Like I learned a lot about, for example, how Christianity manipulated humanity and like took their gods and stuff like that. And I learned a lot about how they were involved in like Egyptian language and even in like Latin and stuff like that. And then
True.
also learning, most importantly, is how to be a better person in general, how to love myself and strengthen myself and kill out my toxic traits and actually like learn to see things from different perspectives. I'm like really opinionated.
I didn't know how much more of this I could watch, babe.
To see other sides, because he's also known as like a diplomat, and one of his things is to like see all the sides of the situation.
In a very
it's really
deceptive
taught me
way.
how to
Very
try to see all the
deceptive.
different sides. So like when I think of a situation, most people think of like one, maybe two perspectives at most, and I'm thinking of like 10, 15 at a
Right,
time.
you could do that in other ways.
But it's definitely interesting to me. I'm a huge like knowledge nerd. So
Yeah, so am I.
So you're
Totally,
really happy
totally
with it.
understand that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a completely positive thing.
Absolutely not. There are other ways to ascend. There are other ways to get this knowledge. There are other beautiful ways to do this. Beautiful ways that truly help humanity, truly help the universe, truly help from the inside out in an authentic way, not in a lying and manipulative, terrible way. This girl is so deceived, so deceived.
I need to simmer down. I'm a little heated. Just a little heated. I almost accidentally set the house on fire with my brain exploding. Okay. Back to me.
Yesteryear that people
Yeah.
are confusing for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet you still call it demon worship.
Yeah, it's pretty much just what it's known by. They don't care that much about it. Any like acknowledgement of them is good to them in a way. I think that they do want people to realize that they're like not these scary entities and stuff like that, but at the same time they're not like super like offended because people have those biases and stuff like that. Because when I first started working with him, I definitely had biases. Like I was like I'm kind of afraid, like he's supposed to be the scary demon and stuff. And then my
Who, him?
ex-husband, who was like Satanist or whatever, definitely played up that like scary factor. And that was when I started really talking to him and I started realizing that how he described him was
You're a
not
sweet
how
devil.
he was at all. That was when I really started realizing that like they're not demons, but the term is still like good to use and that people know what you're talking about.
It's
basically.
a colloquial term. So it's basically what people know, and
Yep.
you can kind of describe it to them.
Exactly.
Good.
So have you ever had any friends, family members that have reacted adversely to what you do? Like maybe very religious people or anybody who has had a negative reaction to you doing these communications?
No, people might
Most
care.
of the people have accepted it, and I think that's just because over the years, like, I've become a better person and my life has gotten better. So obviously, like, it's not all negative. But there has been a couple occasions, like when my friend Megan, for the first time, came over to my house. She wouldn't come in my house because she could feel him, and she was freaked out because she had only had experiences with negative entities, and I had to like convince her, like, yo, he's cool, like, you know, he's not gonna hurt you or anything, like, it's cool. No longer my friend, which I think has a little bit to do with this. She wanted to find out if he was real, and so she took acid and decided she was gonna meditate and try and open her third eye and contact him, and that went really poorly. Something else came in and like convinced her.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop acid, and I think this is an excellent opportunity to summon and contact a demon, just to see if it's real.
Let's just see. Genius. Give me that acid.
Being that we are demonologists, and this is what we do, and this is the world and the realm in which we operate and work and help, I would never drop acid or think about taking acid. And I can't do that. I wouldn't do that with shrooms either. To me, in my mind, opening that dimension, that portal, if you will, terrifies the shit out of me.
And especially not only that, but to do that, or the attempt to, well, let's just see if this devil is one of you. Are you sure you want to find out the
Be
answer?
careful what you wish for.
Sure.
That G meant God and just like all kinds of stuff, and she ended up in the psych ward.
Oh,
for
I don't know
a couple
why.
days. Yeah, she ended up going to the hospital and then ended up in a psych ward. For
I don't know
a couple
why.
days. Yeah, and then her
For no good reason.
parents didn't want her around me or anything like that. And I think she didn't want to be around me because of that. And I think that definitely like tainted her view of him, even though it wasn't him. And I wasn't sensitive enough then because I had only been practicing for like a year and a half. I wasn't sensitive enough then to like really like understand what was going on with her enough to actually help her. So definitely if like you try jumping in and just like don't know what you're doing and just open yourself up to everything, you can definitely have some like negative experiences that way.
But your
That's that
family
order, dude.
is supportive? Your
Yeah.
friends, everybody?
The ones that aren't, I am no longer in contact with.
That's a good policy, because you got to do you in life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like one of my closest friends actually.
That is a good policy.
I don't know. She said that she wouldn't want to be my friend anymore. One of the things she said was that like I had a warped view of reality and that I was delusional and all kinds of stuff like that, which I don't really like. The only thing I shared with her was just like stuff I was researching about history, so I don't know. You know, people are scared of what they don't know. But like as far as that, anybody who I don't know, didn't take it seriously and didn't like accept that it was such a serious part of my life, I pretty much cut off. And my family actually is on my dad's side is heavily Catholic, and they all know that I work with an entity, and I kind of sat them down. They did ask me one time because I had posted some stuff on Facebook. They were like, do you worship the devil, blah blah blah, you know, do you work with Satan? And I'm like, technically, because I work with Lucifer, but no, it's not what you're thinking. And I just kind of like explained the nuances to them, and they were pretty much like, okay, whatever.
No,
and then
not
my
okay,
dad
whatever.
actually,
It's like you're beyond help.
a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I kind of like slowly started introducing it to him and talking to him about it. And my dad is like one of my closest friends.
Because he loves
actually.
you.
We're like best friends. Talk
He's willing to do that because he loves
and he was
you.
very like wary of it at first because he was heavily Catholic. But then I asked him, I was like, you know, I like to share everything with my dad. Like, I want to share this with my dad, help him understand. And so then he came in and started working with him and giving my dad signs and slowly working with him. And now my dad is like fully on board and like he actually wanted to be here tonight to talk to you about his experiences.
Oh man.
But my stepmom's car ended up breaking down, so he's fixing that. But
Weird timing.
I know, right? It's weird timing.
What is he trying to say?
But
What?
I need to clear my throat, so I'm trying not to cough in here.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's so much better.
That's going in the video. Okay, right back to it.
But yeah.
So, 2 questions here. So you described earlier talking about how you allow the entities to possess you, and saying the Catholic angle kind of reminded me to ask you about that. How does that work? How does that happen?
Yeah.
When you do it?
Yeah. It's kind of like accepting his energy into my body, and it kind of feels like a backseat driver just kind of like slides in and like coats me
Takes over.
in his energy, and like I can feel his energy pulsing through me. That's pretty much it. Now what?
I'm really trying to maintain my composure.
Don't.
And not fly off the handle, not go in a whirlwind. But this is painful.
It is so painful.
This is painful to watch, just because I know this is so wrong. But I can actually relate and have a vague concept of what she's talking about, because from when I was going through my demonic haunting, I remember feeling that kind of presence that was behind me, and that felt like it was trying to kind of slip in, or it was trying to project its emotions or its thoughts into what I was doing at the time. I was able to fight back a lot more and, maintain grounding. But that's because I choose not to submit. I will not be dominated that way. I feel so bad for this young lady, and
The process is why you do it in the ritual room, like what exactly goes down.
I actually don't even have to do it in the ritual room. I can pretty much do it anywhere. But I pretty much just meditate and enter like a slight trance state, and then pull his energy into my
Our
body.
versions of meditating are
But
very
I don't even
different.
have to really enter too much of a trance state to talk to him and connect with him. I think that is partially because I have his sigil tattooed on me, so it's like a constant direct link. So I can pretty much talk to him whenever. Now, if I want like a serious answer to stuff,
So proud
I
of
usually
that.
will go into like a trance mode and actually meditate for a while to try and get that answer and get like multiple confirmations.
Our versions of meditating are
So do you
nothing
think
alike.
What we're gonna do tonight?
And going into
the
astral
reason
like
you
that,
contacted
no.
us, me really, and we got introduced is because you wanted to try to test out to see if any of the tools that we have can actually, validate what's happening. So, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to get responses?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so.
What do you think?
I don't want to see
is
that
gonna happen?
part.
Spirit box stuff.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm hoping that he's gonna set off your guys' meters and give responses in the spirit box or whatever else.
I don't want to watch
At the
that.
end of the day, what message do you want people to take away from viewing this video? What do you want to say to people online? Since this is your platform now, you can say literally anything.
We're not what media and the world portrays us to be. We're not scary. We're usually really good people who help people and spread positivity, and the entities we work with aren't scary monsters. They are just misunderstood entities that have been demonized throughout history.
Yeah, because they're demons. It's not that she's a bad person.
No.
It's not. But she's so misled. She's so completely naive and just wanting to be loved. And oh my God, it hurts so bad. Oh my God. But to hear somebody say that their demons are just misunderstood.
I know
They're just
people
demonized.
are misunderstood. I know animals can be misunderstood.
So what is?
Animals.
Oh yeah, man, animals absolutely.
Yeah, animals can be
Totally
misunderstood.
misunderstood. Demons are not misunderstood. They are not, devils are not misunderstood. Low vibrational entities are not misunderstood. They're not misunderstood. It takes a discernment and understanding of what you're working with. They want to deceive. They want to deceive.
What do you say to the people online who are going to be angry that you talk to demons? What's your opinion on
Not
that?
angry, concerned.
Their opinion. They're gonna be angry no matter what I do. Really, if it's not this, it'll be something else. So.
But here's you as an example. You're living life, you're healthy, you're happy, you have a great house, great everything, and yet you talk to demons. And that's way more than, I mean, some people get mad at us for even going to demonic places, but you are a shining example of someone that can actually have contact and is living
Not
an amazing
mad at
life.
her.
So
Yep.
I'd say that you are
Not
a
at him.
testament to that train of thought being just nullified, because even you, a person who has demons that enter your body and, you know, are surrounding you and making marks on the walls and everything, but you're still happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am way happier than when I first started practicing. My mental health is way, way better. My financial status is way better. My whole entire life. It's like not just a 180, like a complete 360 flip different.
The piper's gonna come, and she's
Correct.
gonna have to pay the bill. Because nothing is for free.
Nope. And to get her out of that is going to take so much more than she realizes. I question, can she get out of that? Is there redemption from this? Yes, but it's going to be a freaking lot of work. A lot of work. A lot of work, and not on her own. Oh. We're not mad,
Anything else
not even a
that you'd
little.
like to add?
It's just very concerned, very, very
Yeah.
concerned. We don't want people to think that this is an okay activity. Definitely not. But I feel like the filming crew, they're very respectful. Not mad at them for going into demonic places. Concerned, heavily concerned.
To this video, anything?
I don't know. Just stay open and search for knowledge.
Definitely
Well,
search for
that's
knowledge.
Perfect. I guess it's time to go see the ritual room and begin our communication.
No.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are going to end it.
We are not. Please don't watch that next episode on this channel, the channel that I talk to demons every day. Please don't. We're done.
I would never encourage anybody to participate or even sit in on a ritual summoning like that.
No.
It-
Or even to watch it.
Or
Quite
even to
honestly,
watch it. That's
even
why
to
we're
watch
not
it.
watching
Yeah,
it. We're
no.
not watching the video that
No.
they did, the second
No.
part of this video.
No.
We're not watching it.
There's no need for curiosity on that one. We're just not playing.
No.
No. Okay, they did it. Okay, we are not partaking in that. Not at all. On that note.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you thought of our reactions. Feel free to check out the video, but please do that with heavy protections and discernment before you do.
Yes.
Leave a comment below. Please subscribe, like our stuff. We love you. Have a great night, light workers.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye.
Love and light.
Love and light.